All right, let's move on to the game of the week. Georgia Bulldogs, Alabama Crimson Tide. Both teams opening up the year 3-0. Georgia opened up the season with 3 convincing wins, 37-10 at Arkansas, 27-6 at home to then 7th-ranked Auburn, and 44-21 this past weekend over Tennessee. They are allowing just 236.7 yards a game while putting 185 more on offense, clearing 400 on offense, allowing just 236. Alabama coming off that wild 63-48 win at Ole Miss after opening the season with an easy win at Missouri and a 52-24 win at home to Texas A&M. This Crimson Tide defense has allowed 30.3 points per game so far this year. That stat alone is nuts. Georgia Bulldogs, Alabama Crimson Tide. John Ryan, take it away.
Well, I won't waste any time here. I like Georgia quite a bit. I think this is the year that they can get it done. And I don't see how Alabama's going to be able to fix all the holes in the defense. I rewatched some of that game against Mississippi, and that was easy. And granted, Alabama had over 750 yards themselves, equally balanced between run and pass. But Georgia has by far the best defense, really the only defense in the SEC, based even on last year's metrics. Their defense is requiring an offense to gain almost 20 yards to get 1 point on the scoreboard. And the beauty of this year is we know that it's all SEC conference foes, so we don't have to look of whether the foe was one of those out-of-conference games where they won 56-3 and it pads the stats. These are all SEC foes. So the Georgia defense has everything they need to finally go in there and stop Alabama's offense. Let me get to a couple other metrics here.
While you're grabbing those metrics, let's just discuss just this market move. Alabama opening up at -4.5 at 365, already at -6. The leading indicator books have moved it to 6.5 already, and this total 59 across the board, 158.5 on the board. Take it away, John.
Okay, so a couple trends here with Georgia. 12-3 on the road after 2 straight wins by 21 or more points and facing a SEC host. Betting system. I know everybody likes the betting systems. Here we go. On Georgia, you're going to play on underdogs 3.5 to 10 points. Again, that's a number that you hear me say a lot. That range of points is important. So we're going to play on an underdog 3.5 to 10 points off a win by 10 points or more of our conference rival, now facing another conference rival after a road game where both teams scored 31 or more points. So again, that works against Alabama's inability to stop anybody, at least stop anybody so far this year. And what can be better than what Georgia did last week? Down 21-17 at half. We all thought, boy, maybe this is the time. And then they just came out and smoked them. And Tennessee's not a doormat. I mean, they are a very formidable team in their own right. A lot better than previous years, in my opinion. So I think this is where I really like Georgia quite a bit. And I think they get the job done. So in this case, I call it a combination wager where you take like say this ends up being a 7-star play. I recommend taking a 4.5-star amount using the line and then a 2.5-star on the money line. So that serves to optimize your total rate of return over the course of a season. Nobody knows what's going to happen in this game, and none of us have a crystal ball. But what I can tell you, if you split up some of these dog plays that I release in that way when I suggest it, in past years, which has no guarantee of this year, of course, but past years, it really has helped the bottom line. So this is going to be one of those games where I will recommend a combination wager on the Georgia Bulldogs.
I love it. John, would you also recommend waiting at this point? Because it just seems like 7
Yes.
could be on the board soon.
I would be happy with 7, but your point's a very good one. And again, getting back to what I said before in another game, you can put half of your amount down and then see how it goes. Especially if you're going to do the money line later on. That's probably where you could get the biggest bang for the buck in waiting. Because if it would go to 7.5 or more, obviously the money line is going to go up more. I think that's a good idea. Put half of your bet in now if you like Georgia as much as me, and then work from there and see what the line tells you.
Very exciting spot. Georgia Bulldogs, Alabama Crimson Tide. We've already seen John Ryan say, back the Bulldogs. CMac, what do you think of the game of the week, Georgia, Alabama?
Yeah, I agree. Like I was just saying, I'd wait. I think it goes to 7. I want the team with the better defense, and right now Georgia's got the better defense, even though they're going to Alabama. I think Georgia can, and if they gets into a shootout, I mean, both teams can score. I want the points right now with I think is the better team at the moment, which is Georgia. So, and I'd wait. I think it gets 7, but I don't think it goes higher than that. And like you said, if you want to put at half on money line, however people want to bet, that's their decision. But yeah, I like Georgia here. So
back-to-back backers of Georgia. Let's go to Nolly Knows. Nolly, how are you handling this spot? What do you think of this total of 59? And do you agree with the boys on Georgia?
I think this is a tough game right here. Two really good teams, really coached really well. And you talk about Georgia, number 1 defense in the nation, only giving up 38 yards rushing per game, which is insane. But here they have a tough task. The quarterback for Alabama doesn't get a lot of love, but he's been putting up 400 yards game after game. Jones can really sling it, and he's looked really good. So it's a tough task for Georgia to come in here and try to shut them down. But like you said, all those holes on the Alabama side is something that I focus on. Bennett has looked really good for Georgia, managing the game, I guess you would say, but he doesn't have to do much more than that when they rely on the defense heavily. These games are tough, and when you're getting points in this type of matchup, I think you got to take the points. You do have the better defense, but I believe Alabama has the better quarterback, and that ultimately can end up winning a shootout if it does get to that. But this game is very difficult for me to decide. I think the total is really close. I think it gets to right about 60. And here, I mean, it's tough to go against Bama. I mean, you look at what he's been able to do against his past assistants, going to be head coaches against him. But keep in mind, this is probably the best team he's faced. Especially the last time when they faced Georgia, and Georgia almost came out with the victory. This defense is even better than that time. And yeah, I'm going to stay off of it. I will watch this game because I believe I like watching the Georgia, but I'm off the game myself.
All right, we have John Ryan and CMac backing Georgia, and Nolly Knows staying off of this spot.
Wait, real quick. I got to get 7, though. I'm not taking the 6.
Okay, you got to get 7. Okay, no, that's
Me too.
I don't want the 6, man. Yeah.
it's an important point.
It is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right, CMac going to pull the trigger if he gets a 7. And John interested in both the spread and the money line. And the money line at this point should be a wait-and-see approach to see how high it gets. Why don't we just see what the money line is right now? The money line for Georgia is between plus 185 and plus 192 right now. So we'll see what changes we get there.